One of the things that we always emphasize within the Center for Teaching Excellence in Learning is the value of using Blackboard as an extension of what's going on in your classroom. So whether you're teaching online or whether you're teaching in a ground course, you really need to look at, we're hoping that you can look at Blackboard as a way to really support what's going on, so that if you're creating a PowerPoint in class, it shows up in Blackboard. If you need to review something, you've taught your students, but they're still struggling, that you use Blackboard to deliver that lecture again. So one of the things that's really important then is that you need to consider when you're developing your course that you provide those support mechanisms to match. And the way that you do that is through your menu bar options on the left. As you can see, this is a course that I developed for some training that I did with e-college faculty, and so the menu bar allows me to craft those unique menu bar options that support that course, and you can do the same. So you can have items such as our, if there's virtual labs, our virtual labs. You can have things like PowerPoint presentations, or maybe you're using screencasting like I'm using tonight, or whatever it is, but you can basically make these items, the more unique that they are, the better it is for you and your students, okay, to basically mirror and support what's happening in class. Okay, so let me just quickly show you how to create the same kind of menu bar structure that you see here. First, there are a couple things you need to notice about the menu bar. Notice that things are grouped because we find that that's easier for your students, or rather, they're chunked. Also, we have headers. As you can see here, the headers are identified because they're capitalized, and you notice they're a little highlighted a little bit more. Blackboard has changed this. They used to be a different color, which actually I like better, but they've taken that feature away, but you can still, but they left it as a highlighted kind of tab. So one thing that can help you with that is just spacing them out differently. Okay. So if you notice up here, the way that you craft the colors, let's talk about the color scheme first. So the way you craft the color, go straight down the page, and what you want to do is find teaching style right here, and go ahead and click on teaching style. It's going to be a little slower because we're recording. So when you click on teaching style, here it comes. I need you to scroll down. One thing I do want to point out is the entry point. A lot of people forget that you even have this option. This allows you to dictate or tell the system where you want students, what landing page you want students to see when they first come into your class. You can change that. So if you wanted to make it always on the announcements, you can put it on announcements. Obviously, in this course, there's a Start Here button, so it makes sense that we want our students to see that first. But you have, especially as the course progresses, you have the ability to change what they see first when they walk into class. So I always like to point that out. All right, let's scroll down. As you can see, because this course is already set up, I've already changed it to this blue menu bar. Now, when you first enter Blackboard, typically you may see text. Some people like text instead of the buttons. These are the two options to display your menu bar, okay? And both have the ability in here for you to change the color. For example, if you don't like the buttons and you want to use just the script, you can come over here and you can actually change the color of that script, okay? So I'm going to play around with it, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in green right now, right? Or if you like buttons, click it to buttons, and then click on the button library, and it does the same thing. Now you have a choice of solid colors. You know, that's my preference, but that's just me. You may like something else, and a lot of people do. So you can go to solid buttons, or you can go to striped. The only thing that I'll say about striped is just be careful that if you're using striped, the students can still see, and I would say this about color too, just make sure that visually students can read the bars. You know, sometimes you can have a lot going on with the buttons, so just be mindful of that. Make sure that it's legible, okay? You can also change it to rounded ends, so it's rounded. You can just kind of have some fun here. Okay, the only thing that I say is that, and here's a pattern one. This is really when, let me see if the patterns will come up. Yeah, this is when you get into the patterns, I would just say word of caution, because sometimes, and I'll show you, I'm going to pick this one. You see how when I pick that, I can barely read what's on the script or on the button. So those are the ones that I would caution against. You know, be really, really mindful, because students still have to read. You see how we can't really read that? So that's what I mean by making sure things are legible. That's a little bit better, and that's better. So just be aware of that, because it could pose a problem for you. But, you know, definitely have some fun with it, but just make sure it passes that standard. So I'm just going to go back to the standard one, which is the solid button with a square, rectangular rather, look to it. And for now, just so you can see, I'm going to change it to green. Here we go. And scroll down and hit submit. Here we go. And you can see nothing changed in terms of the order of my menu bars, but the color changed. Now really quickly, I'm going to change it back. And just kind of remember, we went from step one was to click teaching style. Hopefully it'll come up for us a little faster this time. So step one is to click on teaching style. And again, it's a little slow because we're recording. There we go. And we scroll down. And remember, we just click on button and button library. And now what I'm going to do is just change it back to my default. Notice right here I click on blue and it highlights, see that? And I scroll down and I click submit. Okay, and now I'm going to show you how to get these spacings. See how you have these little bars? You click in, and if you notice, you have subheaders and dividers. The subheader is here. That's that bolder icon, and the divider is it's almost an invisible line. Everything, if I click on divider, and I just did, it's going to pop up at the bottom, as you see. And there's my divider. And I can just bring this up. I can scroll, and right now I'm just holding down my cursor and I'm moving it. So if I wanted to put it between these two, I could divide that out. You see that? And again, all I did was I went up here and I clicked down divider. Let me create another subheader. Again, it's going to come to the bottom. Type in the title of your subheader. Notice I did it in all caps to distinguish it from the regular tabs. It's going to come to the bottom like normal. I'll scroll down to get it and see it. Test subheader. I'm going to grab this little chevron. I'm going to drag, holding my key down, my left keystroke on my mouse, and I can bring it up. See that? And I can really move these items and manipulate them on the board until I get, until I position everything the way that I would like to position it. In building menu bar options, I can just click on this little plus sign. If I want to create, like all of these, I had to build most of these because, your default just come in, only a few come in. And so to build new menu bar options, notice over here, I can build content areas. Normally ones that I use are content areas, tool links, web links, and course links. Let me show you these real quick. Normally, most of them are going to fall into content areas. For example, you might just have one that says our assignments or weekly assignments, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you check off available to all users so that your students can see it. Remember, it's going to come to the bottom. I'm going to build a couple of them. So that's one. We'll see that in a minute. Our assignments is down there. We build some more so I can show you the difference. A tool link, if I click on tool link and I name it, a tool link is going to give you all of the different tools that are available in Blackboard. For example, email, maybe there's a discussion board that you're trying to create, and this is where this is why this is such an important tool, because there's different zones in Blackboard. So for example, if you're setting up a discussion board, in fact, I can do that one instead of email, this is where you would set that up so that when you set up this particular menu bar option, when they click it, it takes them either to email or discussion board. You see my grades, and these are important things that you need to consider putting into your course. But this is how you would set it up, okay? Announcements, you see that? The calendar, discussion board, email if you do group work. So this is where you would go. You would click the tool link. So I'm going to go ahead and fix this one to, let's go ahead and do discussion board and change it. And then you go ahead and click submit. And you'll notice that, so this assignment, when I click on assignment, it's going to take us to the regular assignment kind of board. Again, it's a little slow tonight. And this is where you would normally set up your regular assignment, whether it's an item that you're setting up, maybe it's a YouTube video you're putting in, whatever it is, okay? But you notice if I go to the other one that we created under the tool link, our discussion board, it's going to take me to the discussion board platform within Blackboard so that I can set up a particular discussion board for my students. See? So it's taking me right to my discussion board. Remember, this is an active class, so it's taking me to the discussion board. But see the difference? The difference, again, was one was a content area that I created. The other was a tool link, right? A web link is just like what you were thinking. It's going to be an actual website. So let's say that there's a particular website that you use a lot in your class, or maybe you just want to put the Lawson's website on within your class. That's fine. Many people are definitely going to link the library website. So all you have to do is paste in or type in the actual address and hit submit. And knowing these different types of things within the menu bar options, just knowing how to do them really does add a major dimension into your class. Very, very important. This link is hidden. If you see that X, see that going through these two? What step did I skip? I didn't select all users. If that's the case, just go ahead and click show link, and it'll get that out of there. And just hit your chevrons. It's just showing it, it's fixing it for us. And see, it goes away. And I'm going to do this one again. See, the X means that your students, you can see it, but your students can't see it. So hit the little chevron and just click show link. Okay? And it'll fix both of those. And again, remember, you can move these up and down and put them in the right position. Just bring them up. We'll bring them up to our little test subheader, so I know where to, delete everything since it's an active class. And we're going to bring the website up. And there you go. The last one I'm going to show you, it's used sometimes, but not a lot. This is when you wanted to create something. Let's say that your class is really far along, and you have a particular assignment you've built in to another portion of your, if I can get this to type for us. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not really reading it properly. This will allow you to link within the actual class. So let's say that you've built in an assignment, and see how involved this course is. But let's say that I wanted this to go right to this lesson, lesson 3, video 5 on team building. I can click that lesson, and it brings it right to the front page. So instead of students having to search for the lesson, and you can also change the, you can rename it. If you want to. And let me make sure I can hide it. You can see it's not available. You can make sure it's available. You can rename it so that they can link to it. But that's we don't use that very often, but it's important for you to know how to do it. Okay? So hopefully this tutorial, and here we go, it's trying to allow me to rename it. If you've renamed it, just go ahead and click that check mark right here, as you can see. And I'm not going to do that, so I don't want anything to change. But you just hit the check mark and it will rename. So hopefully this presentation on the menu bar options really helps to empower you to craft more interesting menu bar options for your students. And again, the goal is to attract students to what's happening in the classroom and also mirroring that to support what's happening in the classroom within the online version of your in class. So I hope this has been helpful. And if you have any additional questions, please contact us at CTEL.